What's up? This is MLB Talk 123. Once again, AA or Alex, and cannot pronounce his last name, GM of the Toronto Blue Jays, has just pulled off a magical trade. I'm a Cardinals fan, and I'm very mixed with this trade right now, as it stands. Yes, we filled up all of our pitching needs by giving away Colby Rasmus, but we gave away Colby Rasmus. Obviously, I am not the biggest Colby Rasmus fan. I was a huge fan of him in the beginning of the year. Despite his struggles this year, I know he's going to be a good player, but I think he would have gone either in this trade deadline or the offseason, no matter what. The coaches can't get along with him. He won't listen to the coaches. He can't. He's just not. He doesn't fit in as a Cardinal, and he doesn't want to be a Cardinal. He requested a trade last year. I know there's a lot of controversy with him and his dad and everyone. So, it's just kind of a big mess in St. Louis. Good to get a change of scenery. But if you're going to trade a guy like Colby Rasmus, we need to get more than what we got in return. I'll just say that. We trade Colby Rasmus and pitchers Trevor Miller and Brian Talent and P.J. Walters. P.J. Walters, he'll have some potential, and he could, turn out to be a good reliever for the Blue Jays. But Trevor Miller and Brian Talent have been useless for us this season. Trevor Miller was great for us 2 years ago. I really liked the guy. I liked him when he was a Ray, too. Brian Talent, we got him. He was actually a Blue Jay last year. He's been hurt most of the year. He's been useless when he was here. Good to get him back in Toronto. That'll be good for him. So, if you're Trevor Miller and Brian Talent, Trevor Miller's probably sadly St. Louis. I think you really liked it here. Plus, St. Louis is a great city to play baseball in. But now, if you are starter Edwin Jackson, you're on the White Sox, just kind of struggling. 200, 500. You've had a good year this year, though. And then we're going to be trading the Blue Jays, who are even more out of contention. And then now you're trading the Cardinals. So they're right in the middle of playoffs. So that's great for Edwin Jackson. I've always liked Edwin Jackson. I'm very excited to have Edwin Jackson as a Cardinal. I've always loved the guy. I really have. He's been a favorite since he was a Ray and a Tiger and a Diamondback and a White Sox, And I kind of had a feeling we would, try to get this guy. And I'm very happy that we got him. But the fact that we only got Mark Repchinski, Octavio Dotel, and Corey Patterson for Colby Rasmus, it's not good. Mom, I'm kind of busy right now. One sec. No, one sec. Oh, sorry about that. But anyways, so we get relievers Mark Repchinski, who's going to be cost controlled, and he's going to be on the Cardinals for the next few years. But Octavio Dotel, he's a free agent, and if he loves playing in St. Louis, we might be able to re-sign him. Great. But the fact is, we need pitching now, especially that Eduardo Sanchez got hurt, and he might not even return this season. Hopes are that he will. But the fact is, this bolsters our bullpen. Think about this. Edwin Jackson is definitely going to be our fifth starter. And Kyle McCollum's going to be moved back to the bullpen. If one of our starters gets hurt, you can put him back to starter, or you can put Lance Lynn in. Now, that leaves so much flexibility. In the bullpen, we have Kyle McClellan, 7th inning. We have Jason Mott, 7th inning, or 8th inning. We have Lance Lynn, who's proven to be good in high-pressure situations. We have Mitchell Boggs, who can pitch anytime. We have Fernando Salas as a closer and Octavio Dotel. That brings that experience. Instead of acquiring a closer, that fills the void. He has closer experience, and he can go in that closer's role. And he's going to be in there in the 8th inning, too. And Mark Repchinski is a good left-handed pitcher. That's going to be good against left-handed bats. That's the whole point. That's what Trevor Miller hasn't really done this year. And then Corey Patterson is going to be a backup outfielder, veteran guy. And then we get 3 players to be named later or cash considerations. The thing for me is, that's great, but the main thing is, who do we get for the 3 players to be named later? I know it's not going to be a big-name prospect. I was hoping, if I would have seen this deal, and I would say, they're dealing with the Blue Jays, I would say right away, Brett Lowry or Eric Thames. They got to be part of the deal. This is Colby Rasmus, for God's sake. He's going to be your center fielder for the future, and he's going to have potential to hit 30, 40 home runs. He hit 23 last year as a 23-year-old. His situation in St. Louis was bad, but he's in Toronto, so he's going to have great seasons there. And you're not even getting a good prospect in return for this guy. You're getting 2 rentals and a pitcher who's going to be there for a few years. I know this fixes the problems this year, but we have been struggling to stay afloat this year with injuries and all that. So now that we have pitching, I understand, but I don't really necessarily think this year might not be the year to go all in. I'll love to watch the Cardinals this year, but to trade Colby Rasmus and not get any high prospects in return, I think is a big iffy mark on this trade. He did this with Yunel Escobar last year, and they've won on the trade, definitely. I was hoping that we'd get Yunel Escobar in this deal. But then, the Cardinals are all about this clubhouse thing, and I guess he's not the greatest in the clubhouse, but he's been good in Toronto, I guess. So, Eric Taves would have been great to get in this deal, get an outfielder. Brett Lowry would have been even better, get an infielder. How badly have we needed a second baseman or a shortstop for the last years? Skip Schumacher, we need Brett Lowry. Jeez, we definitely need Brett Lowry, and I would have been fine to see Colby Rasmus go if we would have got Edwin Jackson, Mark Repchinski, Octavio Dotel, and Brett Lowry or something, and then we gave cash to them or a player to be named later, and Trevor Miller and Brian Talent and P.J. Walters or something. I would have been fine with that. You can minus Corey Patterson and bring in Brett Lowry, or you can minus any of those relievers. You can minus Octavio Dotel and bring in Brett Lowry. I would be more fine seeing Colby Rasmus be traded for that than be traded for 2 out of 3 pitchers aren't even going to be here. So it just really depends. Cardinals need to go for the 3 players to be named later, not cash considerations. He even said he'd be open to adding payroll, our general manager said. So definitely go for the 3 players to be named later, and hopefully they are good prospects, and hopefully the Cardinals do their scouting well and get guys who can help the Cardinals in years to come. So depending on how the 3 players to be named later do, is really dependent if the Blue Jays win this or we win this. My guess, Blue Jays are going to easily win this. This is Colby Rasmus. He could, do, good for them this year, but next year he could hit 35 home runs. And all of a sudden, he's a star in Toronto, and they have Colby Rasmus, Jose Bautista, and Brett Lowry at second base, and they got Lyle Overbay back hitting 35 home runs. They got J.P. Arcibia hitting 25, 30 home runs. And if they found a really good third baseman, a young third baseman or something like that, I don't know their whole system, but I'm just saying, and they have, Escobar who's playing better. Their pitchers are young. They're, developing. So, I mean, this is a team that's really being built well, and their GM is a masterful guy to be able to get John Mozeliak to agree with this, because, oh my God, the Rays put an offer in for J.P. Howell, Jeff Newman, and prospect. They said no to. I would say no to it too, depending on who the prospect is. If it's Desmond Jennings, obviously that's a yes, but or like a top pitching prospect, yeah, that's a yes. The Red Sox offered. They've been a top suitor for the last 2 weeks, but they go for this. Again, Blue Jays are going to win this deal. That's what's going to happen. But it's going to be fun to watch the Cardinals player that they get in this. I'm totally supportive of all the players they get. I mean, how would you just be mad at them because they're part of a trade? No. I just wish that the Cardinals would have got a top prospect or just a good prospect in return. Because I think Colby Rasmus is going to be a great center fielder for the Blue Jays. Even if the Blue Jays trade him in a few years when his stock's really high, he's going to have a good career in Toronto. So, thanks for watching this MLB Talk 1, 2, 3. Colby Rasmus has been traded to Toronto Blue Jays. Thanks for watching.